Arun Tiwari, sir, born in 1955 at Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. In fact, he is a missile scientist and very good author, excellent author, internationally renowned author, a professor, has written more than 13 books to his credit, and the best of things everyone has read is The Wings of Fire. Then Abdul Kalam's autobiography, then Transcendence, then India 3.0, sir, 3.0, sir? Yeah. So, and many of these things, and now the latest one was on the post-pandemic scenario, how the countries across the world really reacted, and how we as Indian, in the Indian context, how the pandemic has changed the entire scenario of the world. So the entire concept of his writing is based on understanding the humanity, and humans as they exist today need to contribute to the benefit of the mankind. So going into the other aspects of his personality, he completed his master's in mechanical engineering from J.B. Pant Agricultural University, University of Agriculture and Technology. Then he joined DRDO in 1982 as missile scientist. He spent next 15 years in developing missile development efforts, and he developed India's first titanium air bottle used in Trishul and Akash missiles, and designed airframes for both the missiles. In 1992, Dr. Kalam appointed Dr. Tiwari as program director to develop civilian spin-offs of defense technologies. Then came the very invention, coronary stent with cardiologist Dr. Somaraju. So in the CARE Foundation and with the CARE hospitals, the civilian spin-offs really helped this particular aspect. And that's how the Defense Technology Spin-off Award was given in 1998 for his role in developing this stent. He is also credited for structuring and setting up the Pan-African e-network project, and also he established the telecommunications e-network with the Telecommunication Consultants India Limited. From 2002 to 2007, he was the member of the advisory team to the President, Dr. Kalam, and currently he is associated with CARE Foundation, his writings, and lecturing around in the management institutes and advising us and mentoring us who are all associated with him. Sir, we welcome you to this very webinar, and we would like to request you to deliver the lecture. So basically, we selected this to look at how the Indian civilization, the Vedic concepts, the philosophical approaches really dealt the climate change since the civilizations, and what do we really find in our scriptures, how the generations manage the climate change. So probably you would be really enlightening us with this particular idea, sir. So floor is yours, sir, for your presentation. Elangon, you can share here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's a great honor and privilege to be a part of the seminar. I'm not keeping well, and I'm confined to home for quite some time now. So this, when the invitation came, first Sonapi Saab spoke to me on telephone, and I gladly agreed because this is perhaps best I can do at this point of time to go through the scriptures, to go through the great books and decipher it, and like a buffalo eat the food and then rumigate it and present it to the younger generation in a palatable and simple manner. So It's a great feeling, and I'm very thankful and I'm very happy. And as you can see that I took it sincerely and spent some time in really giving this message of what our Vedic civilization uh, looks about the whole thing. Now, as you see the first slide, it's very subtle. There is Earth, and there is a black space, and then there is a beautiful moon shining there. But the point I'm trying to make here is that there is a blue strip. Now, this blue strip is what makes life possible on Earth. If this blue strip is not there, there is no life. As simple as that. 20-kilometer thick layer immediately above the surface is called troposphere, and it contains 80% of the atmosphere mass and weather is formed in this 20 kilometers thick layer. Then above it, 20 to 50, we call it stratosphere, which shield ultraviolet radiation coming from the outer space. And once again, if this layer is not there, there is no life possible on Earth. Finally, 50 to 85 kilometer is mesosphere, which is a shield. Anything, these meteors and all this garbage, anything falls on Earth, this layer, it burns it off. So it is a shield, physical shield. And 100 kilometer and further is space. And you can see beautiful moon is rising in that space. And you must be all familiar with a famous NASA photograph where Earth is rising on the space. The space is very vast, very huge. And billions of things are moving around that. So I conclude this particular slide by once again re-emphasizing this 20-kilometer thick layer, which is called atmosphere. And this is the subject matter of today's lecture. Next slide, please. Now, Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, the greatest teacher, he wrote a book. He was very upset reading this. Aryans came from Central Asia or Germany, and then they uprooted the Dravidians living in this country, and all that nonsense. He was very much against that. And he wrote a book, published it in 1903, The Articome in the Vedas. And Mahatma Gandhi very truly called Bal Gangadhar Tilak as the maker of the modern India. And in this particular book, he gave hundreds of Vedic sutras explaining that the meaning of those 100 sutras are that the person who is writing those sutras is living on the North Pole, because he is seeing the sky as a head revolves around the head, as a head revolve on the head. That is how the sky is moving. It is not east to west, it is moving in a rotation. So that is only possible if you are standing on the North Pole. Then there are long nights, 6 to 9, 10 months. And morning is not one, morning is multiple. And from anywhere in Vedas you see, there is no word like Usha. The word is Ushas. Ushas, the goddesses of morning, because they are multiple. So many, I mean, you will be seeing so many mornings. Beautiful light comes, and then it goes, and then again it comes, and then again it goes. For 6 months, sun is not seen, only Ushas are seen. So, Bal Gangadhar Tilak gave, I have the entire book, it is available, and anybody can read that. So he very scientifically, meticulously proved, going by shloka to shloka, that the early people who have written Vedas, it was in the very, very ancient time. What we call it the Paleolithic, that is 2.5 million years to 10,000 years BC. During that time, the Vedas were composed, not after Homer and Iliad and Socrates and all that. No, it's a different magnitude of time, number one. Second thing, he says that Aryans were not the autochthonous of Europe or Central Asia, but they came from the North Pole. And as everybody knows that Ice Age, after that climatic condition changed and there was no North Pole anymore. And the people who were living there, they had to move around in different directions. That is how the human civilization has come to exist. So how it happened, what was at the root? The unwelcome change in the climatic condition. This is the word which Bal Gangadhar Tilak is using. I am not using, I am repeating. Unwelcome changes in the climatic conditions. Next slide, please. Now, what is happening is that in 15th century, these Europeans, they invented gun and then they went all around the world and killed people mercilessly and imposed their religion on everybody and plundered them. And with that money, they created Paris and London and all these great cities and invested into all this technology. But the point we are making is that a change in global or regional climate patterns, in particular a change apparent from the mid to late 20th century, is a very stupid way of understanding the problem. It's a very small thing actually. In Corona pandemic time, as Dr. Tonapi says, I could write a small book with Professor Syed Hasnan, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Hyderabad. Together we wrote this book. And the moment you take away the polluting industry, not pollution, polluting industry, polluting car and all that, Earth was beautiful. And Yamuna was blue in Delhi. So it is not a problem. It is your own bad behavior. It's not a problem. You can't call it as a problem. It's not a problem. It is a fault which we are. So it's not correct to understand the climate change in this terminology. We have to have a very different and holistic view, which I am going to present. But before we go to new slide, I just want to mention here that Juan Pablo Perez Alfonso, the Venezuelan oil minister in the early 1960s, said in 1975, we are drawing in the devil's excrement. We are drowning in the devil's excrement. This is the word he has used. Devil is urinating and we are drowning into that. This is the situation right now this world is having. And it is not, it is scary actually. It's not even dangerous, it is scary. Because there is no going back from that. There is no way you can come out of that. It's a very, very serious situation. Next slide, please. Now, the basic of Vedic concept is that there is only one whole reality, and there are billions and billions of fragments of that, but it's one reality actually. It's one reality. Through this webinar, 100 of us are on one page. we are pondering upon the one problem, and then on the nation level and on the international level. So if you look at the Vedic perspective of one reality, then you can see that there is nothing independent. Because of this happened, because of this, that happened, because of this, that happened. Everything is interrelated, and then the feedback goes, and then change automatically take place. So if you see in this beautiful picture, you can see that sun is reflected through the surface of the ocean, and on the bottom of the ocean, there are beautiful patterns. Now, what are these patterns? There is nothing. If you remove the sun, there is nothing. It is all black, all mass of matter. But because of this light, you can see different patterns and all that. So this is the Vedic view. Tamsoma Jyotirgamya, lead me to light. Because of light only, we can understand all these things. So next few slides, I'm going to focus on that light. Next slide, please. There is a, in Atharva Veda, 12th canto, Kand, what we call it, there is a Bhumi Sukta, and there are 62 slokas there in that. Atharva Veda, again I repeat, 12th canto, that is Barva Adhyaya, Barva Kand, and in that there is a Bhumi Sukta, which we call 12.1, and in that there are 62 slokas. Basically, these 62 slokas are to pray Goddess Earth, Mother Earth. And I very sincerely suggest, before I mention the first sloka, I want to use the good offices of Dr. Vilas Tornapi and this, particularly the Karnataka Agro-Science Association. They are the blessed souls. That I will provide the simple English translation and Hindi translation, and then we can go through Kannada, Telugu, and other translation also of these 62 slokas, Bhumi Sutta. And this should be mandatory for anybody who is taking a profession in agriculture sciences. कोई भी रहने दो, वो बीएससी करना है, एमएससी करना है, पीएचडी करना है, वो आपको डिग्री तब तक नहीं मिलेगी जब तक ये 62 श्लोक जो है आप अच्छी तरह से नहीं पढ़ लोगे. I mean, it's very simple. It's not that something. It's very, very thoughtful. By reciting these 62 shlokas, I'm not telling that they should learn Sanskrit and all that. People are very sensitive about language these days. We'll translate these shlokas in Hindi. We'll translate these shlokas in Kannada, Marathi, Hindi, in lyrical form, simple to recite. So 62 shlokas will not take more than 15-20 minutes to go through. 62 into 2, 124 lines, that's all. And very precise one. They are not some big algorithms and all that. But that will give a very good perspective. So what I'm going to do is that today, I'm taking some 4 slokas only I will mention, and that will give you a taste. The first one is that we are the children of Dvava Prithvi. We are the children of earth and sky, first of all. Beautiful expression. Who is a human being? Human being is the son of a child of earth and sky. There is no other definition because nowhere else in the universe human beings exist. Humanity exists only on earth and under the sky. Under the sky means the air, sunlight, all these things. Because of that, we exist. Tehi Dvapa Pratihi. Then he is further defining that where different sun moves and all other planets are moving around us, and because of that, this life is existing. And from this idea, Dvaha Prathi, the word has come as Duhava Pitru, and it has later become Jupiter. As you know, in entire Europe, Greek civilization, Jupiter is considered Jews, they call it ZEUS, Jews. Britishers or Latin people, they call it Jove, 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 Jupiter, Jove. So Jupiter is considered as the god which controls the entire affairs on this in this universe, visible universe. So first sloka, they are declaring children and humanity as the child of earth and sky. And there's a beautiful novel by Gu Gabriel K, published by the same name. It's a wonderful, I mean, I am a book person, and I spend my time mostly in reading good books. And there are so many good books in this world that if 1,000 people like me live 1,000 years also, they will never be able to finish those books. So many books are there. Next slide, please. The another sloka is, Mother Earth, sustain and maintain the truth, order, spiritual passion, witness of the past and future, expand my consciousness. So, you know why we are born. We are not born to have a job and have a house and a car and a wife and few children and all that. That is not the purpose of life. That also happens. We are born to expand our consciousness. How much more you can learn, how much more you can learn, how much more you can understand, how much more you can capture. That is the purpose of the human life. Otherwise, all animals also, they have their children, and there's nothing special to be a human being and to have a family. Everybody is having that. And as far as these cars and houses are, I mean, senior people know that it's as much difficult to buy a car, it is even more difficult to sell the car. Because when it comes to getting rid of things, the pain is even more. So in this prayer, the task of the life has been declared as the expansion of the consciousness, and whom the prayer is made? Prayer is made to Mother Earth. And to maintain the truth, order, spiritual passion. Because you are witnessing past and future. Human life is 70, 80, 90, 100 years. But Earth sees so many people. Earth has seen Alexander, Earth has seen Akbar, Earth has seen Indira Gandhi, Earth is watching Narendra Modi ji. And usko koi farak nahi padta. Bahut log aaye, bahut log chale gaye. So, to that Earth, which is the witness of past and future, this prayer is made. Next slide, please.
Ilangon, next slide.
Got stuck up, sir, 1 minute.
No problem, sir. Yes, sir, it has come. So, in this sloka, 6 seasons are defined. Now, this is called the sophistication of a civilization. 12 months, 6 seasons, and Grishma, Varsha, Sharad, Hemant, Shir, Basant. The first symptom that something is wrong with your climate is when these 6 seasons are jumbled. You don't know what is going on right now. Suddenly, in the month of May, hailstorm is coming and it's lashing. So there's something wrong. It should not be actually. And then in the winter, what we call is severe winter, that is Shishir, Sharad, Hemant, Shishir. Winter is divided into three, pre-winter and then autumn. It starts with autumn and then pre-winter and then winter and then spring, like that it goes. So if these 6 seasons are not felt distinctly, that means the climate is not in order. This is the first sign. And you can see that it is in terrible mess up because they have no idea what is going on. So this is the first symptom, and this has been given in Atharvaved, Bhumi Sukta, Shlok number 3. Now, this is the depth of the wisdom which people are having. Woven together, ocean and earth waters, food which she manifests. Again, because of this woven together of ocean and river water, we get food. Because if these river waters are not there, if respiration does not take place, cloud formation does not take place, monsoon does not come, rain is not dispersed all over the body, there is no question of agriculture, production of food. So it is a very, very interconnected thing actually. So this is very nicely explained in this shloka. Next slide, please. Now, this 6 seasons beautifully shown in this particular slide. There is a joy of every season, and unfortunate are those who, for whatever reason, they run away from the rain. It is very important that at least one rain you get drenched totally, and it gives it open up the entire body actually. So it's very important to enjoy all these 6 seasons to the fullest. Please don't cover yourself with so many woolens and all that. Just feel that chill, and it gives you so much satisfaction and so much joy, and so many hidden latent forces in the body. They get activated because of that and keep you healthy for the rest of the year. Next slide, please. Now, it's a matter of it's a matter of joy and satisfaction that Indian Space Research Organization, they called the visualization of Earth observation data and archival system. The project is called as Vedas. The first letter of visualization of Earth observation data and archival system. It is done by Space Application Center in Ahmedabad. Is already in place, and it is really observing the climate, and we are in a position, actually we are world class as far as the monitoring of the weather and climate is concerned. It's a great achievement. Not many countries can do that, and we have done it. We have done it because it was denied to us, and the plan was that we forever dependent on all these things to foreigners. But the visionary leaders in the past, they could appreciate and they could understand that it has to be done indigenously and by our own people. And it is the efforts of these people and a lot of funding. There was no money at that time, but still they could manage money for the research, that we are self-reliant and cutting-edge technology as far as the monitoring of climate is concerned from space. Next slide, please.
Ilangovan.
Again, stuck up, sir. 1 minute.
So now I come to the crux of the problem. And as I mentioned that there are 6 seasons are interwoven with each other. So similarly, there is a system for is also which is defined, and at the core of that system and center of that system or the axis of that system is Satya, and surrounding that is Rit. Rit is the cycle. Ritu word has come from that cycle only, that six season cycle. So that cycle is there, and based on this Satya and Ritu, we should have our Dharma. Dharma means the law. So Satya is the basis, Rit is the order, and Dharma is the law. So people always call about law and order problem. There is a very serious law and order problem in personal lives, social lives, community lives. It's a big mess. So unless this mess is addressed, unless this system is corrected, there is no hope that we can get rid of the problem which is going to fall upon us because of the climate, because of the economics, because of so many things which are there, which are not in our control. Some war has happened somewhere in Europe and your petrol prices increase. And then the sunflower seed, mostly it comes from Ukraine and Russia. So next season, you are going to have 500 rupees per liter for the sunflower oil. So kare koi bhare koi. Something is happening somewhere and we are suffering in this process. So everything is interrelated and everything depends upon everything else. The point I am making here is that this Dharma, around this Dharma is the achar, that is conduct of human being. And it's very nicely explained here, the Dam, Maryada, Kulachar, Shauch, Ran. Now, we have to be very clear that Dam means we have to have some restraint on ourselves. Some yam, some niyam, some restriction should be there. You can't sleep whenever you feel like. You can't eat whenever you feel like. You can't drink because you are feeling happy or feeling sad. So there are certain rules and regulations which have to be followed. So that is very important. That restraint on yourself. Then there is a maryada. How to talk to superiors, how to talk to seniors, how to talk to those who are elder to you and who are working in your field and who spend more number of years than you. Reversely, how to take care of the youngsters as if they are their children, and see to it that through their hands all that happened which you could not do for some reasons. Maybe your seniors were not good. So compensate that flaws and those inadequacies by your behavior with your youngsters. Then kulachar. Kulachar means into what kul? So kul doesn't mean that your gotra and your jati and all that. It is your specialty which you have selected in science. I'll talk about science. So suppose somebody is a plant pathologist, somebody is an agronomist, somebody is a... Whatever field you have selected for yourself, please find out excellence is that. Don't be jack of all trade. Don't get into discussing everything, including IPL में कौन जीतेगा, कोई भी जीतने से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? You decide about what is happening in your field and go deep into that. So 30-40 years of your career, if you devote only to one problem, which you decide which field you want to work. In science, it is very clear. In medical specialty, it is very clear. Somebody is a cardiologist, he is a cardiologist. So he is supposed to spend 30-40 years in looking at some 1 or 2 lakhs heart of the people and take the science of cardiology to a next level. But instead of that, they are making villas in Jubilee Hills and buying Audi and Mercedes-Benz and all that. It's a different issue. Again, it is Durachar. It is not Kulachar. But Kulachar is whatever field you take, go deeper into that and explore more and God will bless you. And then comes Shauch. Shauch means whatever is bad inside you, anger आता है, greed है, irritation है, वो सबको निकाल देने का है. Okay, you have to clear yourself from all that muck. which you are carrying because you have no control on your ancestors. So, whatever it is, it is. So, from this DNA, through this lifetime, if I can remove the predisposition or inclinations towards anger, greed, lust, all these things, if I can do that, that would be a wonderful thing to happen. And finally, the concept of run, that everything is, we have been given everything actually in this world. So we are under debt. And this debt has to be repaid by giving back the knowledge, giving back the love and affection, giving back service. That is the purpose of life. And if everybody start to understand this whole fundamental, is a cycle. People were there before us, people will be there after us. And it is our good conduct which is going to make this world better. Then this whole problem of climate change, this is the only way that it can be mitigated. Otherwise, as in the past, there will be a big pralay and everything will be destroyed, and nature will not blink an eye because God is omnipotent and he will create some other world. I mean, nobody is lost. Other set of humanity will be created. Some Noah's Ark, some people will be saved, other people will be destroyed. But if proper corrections are made in the right spirit, perhaps your children and your future generation will be those who will be saved and will not be those who will be destroyed. Next slide. Now I come to the conclusion. And in conclusion, there is a very famous Sanskrit shloka which I would like to quote. Ati sarvatra vajrayet. So, wherever there is ati, wherever there is excess, it is forbidden. Now, if you can see in this picture, there is plastic everywhere. And unwittingly, unknowingly, cattle get choked themselves by plastic, because if this whole plastic can really suffocate the animal. And then in this particular picture, it's self-explanatory, but you can see one crow is sitting above this cattle, and I saw it as the immortal crow, that is Kagbhushandi, who watches one generation. One generation goes, another generation comes, and if you remember, if you have read Ramcharitmanas, so when this Garuda is having that pang of pride that he saved Vishnu from Nagpash in fighting with Meghna, then Vishnu sent him to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva sent him to Kagbhushandi, and he tell him the story. So Kagbhushandi is considered as the eternal, he never dies. And so in Pitru Paksh, we always feed crows. So crow is sitting over the cattle and watching the whole situation. So with these words, I conclude this lecture, and I'll be very happy to take up questions. Thank you very much, Dr. Tonapi. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhatt. And I'm very pleased that through this, I could able to connect all of you. God bless all of you. Thank you very much.